Have you ever paused amid the relentless flow of life and asked yourself, why do I always feel restless, even when I have everything I once wished for? We throw ourselves into the whirlwind of ambition, constantly seeking control over our careers, finances, relationships, and even the smallest aspects of life. We believe that if we can arrange everything according to our desires, we will find peace. But ironically, the more we try to control, the more anxious we become. We fear losing our jobs, fear others' judgments, fear love slipping away, and fear the uncertainty of the future. We become trapped in this anxiety, and that very fear blinds us to the most important truth. We have never truly possessed anything. Imagine standing in the middle of a rushing river. You try to scoop water with your hands, but no matter how tightly you hold on, it slips through your fingers. Life operates the same way. Everything we cling to is merely an illusion of control. We cannot control how others perceive us, we cannot dictate every outcome of the future. And we cannot prevent loss and change. But there is one thing we can always control: our own thoughts and actions. Epictetus, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, emphasized this truth in his book Discourses. Keep this thought at the ready at daybreak, and through the day and night, there is only one path to happiness. To give up concern for things beyond our control, not to see them as ours, and to surrender everything to God and fate. Discourses, 4.4. This statement is not just a philosophy, it is a guiding principle that helps us find inner tranquility. A peace that does not depend on the external world, but stems from how we perceive and respond to life. In this article, we will explore the path to tranquility through the wisdom of Stoicism. We will learn how to let go of what does not belong to us, cultivate the ability to accept fate, and discover true inner freedom amid life's constant changes. There is only one path to happiness: letting go of what does not belong to us. Have you ever felt exhausted from trying to control everything around you? You worry about what others think of you. Fear that someone might hurt you, try desperately to hold on to a relationship, a job, or a self-image that you believe will bring you happiness. But the harder you try, the more anxious you become. Epictetus pointed out a simple yet profound truth: happiness comes when we stop clinging to things beyond our control. If you want true peace, stop worrying about things that are not yours to control. What we can control. There is one undeniable fact: the only things we truly possess are our thoughts, actions, and reactions. These fall entirely within our sphere of control. 1. Our thoughts, actions, and responses. You cannot control how the world operates, but you can control how you respond to it. If someone criticizes you, you have the power to remain calm or become angry. If you lose something valuable, you can choose to lament or learn to accept it. 2. Our attitude and perspective. Faced with the same challenge, some people complain, while others see it as an opportunity for growth. Someone who loses their job might view it as the end of the road, or as the start of a new journey. 3. Our choices and decisions. You cannot control whether others love or hate you, but you can choose how to treat them. You cannot guarantee the success of a project, but you can put in your best effort with the resources you have. What we cannot control. But what about the things that fall outside of our control? Other people's thoughts and actions. You cannot force someone to love you. You cannot stop someone from misunderstanding or misjudging you. You cannot control whether someone betrays, envies, or treats you unfairly. External events, economic crises, weather, wars, natural disasters, death, and loss. No matter how much you wish otherwise, you cannot stop the world from changing. You cannot control a storm or a financial downturn, but you can learn how to adapt. aging, illness, reputation, and wealth. No one can stop the passage of time. You cannot control how your body weakens with age, but you can choose how to take care of yourself. You cannot control how people remember you after you are gone, but you can control how you live right now. Those who try to control everything will always be anxious, but those who understand their limits will find freedom. Imagine two people facing the same storm. The first one panics, gets angry at the unpredictable weather, and blames fate for ruining their plans. They try to fight against an uncontrollable force, and as a result, they experience frustration, despair, and exhaustion. The second person observes the storm with calmness. They know they cannot change the weather, but they can choose how to respond. They take shelter, adjust their plans, and look for new opportunities. Which of these two people do you think will find peace? In life, we often behave like the first person, desperately trying to control things beyond our reach, only to make ourselves suffer in the process. But if we focus only on what we can control and let go of what we cannot, we will become like the second person, calm, steady, and unshaken by the storms of life. Epictetus once wrote, "Freedom is not the ability to do whatever you want. Freedom is the ability to not be bound by things outside your control. You cannot control the waves, but you can learn how to surf. You cannot control the wind, but you can adjust your sails. You cannot control the world, but you can control yourself." And once you understand this, tranquility will come to you as a natural consequence. The one who tries to control everything will always be anxious, but the one who understands their limits will find freedom. Imagine two people facing a powerful storm. The first person panics, feeling angry at the unpredictable weather, blaming fate for ruining their plans. They try to resist an unchangeable reality, clinging to frustration, and as a result, they suffer, filled with rage and despair. The second person observes the storm with calmness. They understand that they cannot change the weather, but they can choose how to respond. They seek shelter, adjust their plans, and find new opportunities instead of fighting against what is beyond their control. Which of these two will find peace? In life, we often behave like the first person, struggling to control things beyond our reach, exhausting ourselves in the process. But if we learn to focus on what we can control and let go of what we cannot, we become like the second person, steady, resilient, and unshaken by life's storms. Epictetus once wrote, "Freedom is not the ability to do whatever you want. Freedom is the ability to not be bound by things outside your control. You cannot control the waves, but you can learn how to surf. You cannot control the wind, but you can adjust your sails. You cannot control the world, but you can control yourself." And once you understand this, tranquility will come to you as a natural consequence. Learning to let go. Why do we suffer? Have you ever wondered why some people remain calm in the face of major life crises, while others fall into despair over the smallest setbacks? The truth is, we do not suffer because of what happens to us, but because of how we perceive and react to those events. Pain does not come from the event itself, but from the way our minds interpret it. Imagine you just lost a great job, a position you worked for years to build. What would be your first reaction? If you are unfamiliar with Stoic philosophy, you might feel devastated, frustrated, and panicked. You might ask yourself, why did this happen to me? What did I do wrong? What will happen to my future? These questions do not solve anything, they only create suffering. It is not the loss of the job that causes pain, but the way you perceive it. On the other hand, someone who understands and practices Stoicism would approach the situation differently. They would think, I did my best, but losing this job was not within my control. If I cannot change the past, worrying or getting angry will not help. It is time to look for new opportunities. This does not mean they are indifferent or unaffected by loss, but rather that they choose to control their response instead of allowing circumstances to dictate their emotions. So what is the lesson here? We cannot control everything that happens to us, but we can always control our thoughts. If we learn to accept reality as it is and stop clinging to things that do not truly belong to us, we will find inner freedom. Letting go is not the same as giving up, it is the wisdom of recognizing what is beyond our grasp and being at peace with it. Changing perspective from suffering to tranquility. Think about a storm. You cannot stop it from happening, but you can choose how to respond. You can panic, blame others, or feel afraid, or you can prepare, accept it, and wait calmly for the storm to pass. Life is the same way. Unexpected things will always happen: losing a job, a breakup, failure, loss, but how you face them determines whether you remain strong or feel broken. Think back to a difficult moment in your life. Maybe it was the end of an important relationship, a failure in your career, or the loss of something dear to you. How did you feel at the time? Stressed, scared, hopeless? But now, looking back, do you see that you survived? That what once caused overwhelming worry is now just a memory? This proves that time and perspective determine your tranquility, not the event itself. Stoicism teaches a simple yet powerful truth. Nothing can truly harm you unless you allow it to. If someone insults you, their words have no power unless you let them affect you. If you lose an opportunity, that failure does not define you unless you believe it makes you worthless. Everything is a matter of perspective. So how can you change your perspective? Remember, life does not happen according to our wishes, but according to its own nature. If we can accept that, we will find tranquility, not by controlling everything, but by controlling ourselves. Do not consider external things as your own. We often cling to external things and deceive ourselves into believing they belong to us. We think that money, fame, and relationships are inseparable from our identity, but the truth is, they are only temporary. They come and go like waves in the ocean. Think about money. You could spend your whole life accumulating wealth and building financial security, but do you truly control it? An economic crisis, a wrong investment, or an unexpected event could take everything away overnight. If you see money as part of yourself, you will live in constant fear of losing it. But if you view it as a tool, a means rather than an end, it will never have power over you. The same goes for relationships. We expect that our loved ones, partners, friends, and family will always stay by our side. But in reality, people come and go according to their own paths. There are those we once believed would be in our lives forever, yet one day, they leave. If we depend on them for happiness, we will feel empty and devastated. But if we understand that everyone has their own journey, we will suffer less when someone departs. Fame is also an illusion. Today, we are praised, tomorrow we may be forgotten. If we tie our self-worth to the opinions of others, we will always be insecure, because the world is constantly changing, and people's expectations are never stable. Stoicism teaches us, do not consider anything external as yours, because when they disappear, you will not feel a sense of loss. See everything as temporary, as things that come and go according to the natural order of life. Only when you let go of attachment will you experience true freedom. Accept your fate and love it. Life does not unfold the way we want, it unfolds the way it is meant to. The wise do not complain about fate, they accept it and even learn to love it. Look at the challenges in your life. When something bad happens, our first reaction is often, "Why did this happen to me?" We feel injustice, anger, and frustration. But does asking this question help? No, it only traps us in suffering. A Stoic would never ask, "Why?" Instead, they would ask, "What can I learn from this experience?" Epictetus advises us to surrender everything to God and fate, meaning we must accept that some things are beyond our control and, rather than resisting, we should learn to live in harmony with them. However, Stoicism does not just teach us to accept fate, it teaches us to love it. This is the essence of amor fati, the philosophy of not just enduring hardship, but embracing it as an essential part of our journey. If you lose a job, don't just accept it, see it as a door opening to new opportunities. If you experience failure, don't resent it, view it as a valuable lesson that makes you stronger. Look at the greatest individuals in history. They did not succeed because life was easy. They succeeded because they knew how to turn adversity into strength. A Stoic, when faced with hardship, does not ask, "How can I avoid this?" Instead, they ask, "How can I use this?" Amor fati is not about passive resignation, it is a transformation of mindset. When you learn to love your fate, nothing can break you, because you are no longer resisting life, but moving in harmony with it. Practicing tranquility every day. Tranquility is not a state that we suddenly achieve in a single moment, it is a skill that must be cultivated daily. It does not come from lofty philosophies, but from small, consistent habits that we practice over time. If you want your mind to remain at peace amid life's storms, you must actively train it, starting from the very moment your day begins. Start each day with the right mindset. Each morning, before getting caught up in the rush of life, take a moment to ask yourself, "What is within my control today?" This simple thought will anchor your focus and prevent external circumstances from having too much influence over your emotions. Before lunch, after half a day of work and interactions, remind yourself, "The only thing that truly belongs to me is my ability to choose." You cannot control whether your colleagues are friendly or difficult, but you can choose how you respond to them. You cannot decide whether a customer will complain, but you can choose to remain calm and professional. In the afternoon, as life unfolds unpredictably, remember this. The world operates in its own way, not according to your wishes. Not everything will go as planned, and that does not mean you have failed or that life is unfair. You cannot stop a river's current, but you can learn to navigate it. At night, as you lay in bed, do not let your mind be consumed by what happened during the day. Reflect, but do not cling. Let go of what does not deserve your attention, keep the lessons you have learned, and prepare yourself for tomorrow with a light heart. Practicing stillness. Tranquility does not come only from how we think, it also comes from how we spend time with ourselves. In a world filled with noise and chaos, the strongest person is not the one who speaks the most, but the one who can sit in silence and master their own mind. Each day, take 5 to 10 minutes to sit in stillness, with no phone, no work, no distractions. Observe your thoughts without judgment, just notice how your mind operates. You will begin to see that most worries and concerns are fleeting and not truly important. When facing a negative situation, do not react immediately. The space between stimulus and response is where tranquility is cultivated. If someone criticizes you, take a deep breath. If a plan falls apart, pause and think before panicking. Silence is not weakness, it is a sign of inner mastery. If someone tries to provoke you, remember that you have the power to disengage. If someone says something that angers you, pause and ask yourself, will my reaction change the situation? If the answer is no, smile and move on. Tranquility is not a destination, it is a journey. Every day, every situation, every moment is an opportunity to practice. Train it like a warrior trains for battle, step by step, little by little, until one day you realize that nothing can shake the unbreakable fortress of your mind. The path to tranquility. Tranquility does not come from controlling everything around you, it comes from letting go of what does not belong to you. When you accept that the world operates in its own way, you stop struggling to hold on to things beyond your grasp. By living according to Stoic philosophy, you will no longer fear life's uncertainties, because you understand that everything is impermanent. No longer be controlled by negative emotions, because you know that you always have the power to choose how you respond. Face challenges with tranquility and welcome everything that comes your way as part of your destiny. Remember, we cannot change the world, but we can change how we see and respond to it. And that is the greatest power, the power to attain true tranquility.